For the longest time, there has been a theme among many of our friends, many of those who have shared the journey with us, many of those who have found themselves in a unique kind of a substratum of conservative ideology and the like. Those who were fans or followers of Alex Jones and David Icke and others, Russell Brand to an extent, and maybe now a little bit of Joe Rogan, who for the longest time recognized that there may very well be in our era, in our time, a source of evil that is not merely content with doing evil things, but in paying homage to what they believe to be the occult, the dark, the evil. There have been many other people who, for the longest time, who were Wiccans and people who were pagan, but in the classic agrarian days of sprites and elves and, spirits and fairies, not really dangerous, people who celebrated celestial changes and maybe Wiccans, maybe some who were into quote witchcraft, but there was not this evil part. And many people who were themselves unable to really differentiate the two would lump everybody together into that which is evil. That's not really the case. Then there are people who are completely morally and intellectually dissolute, who were devoid of any kind of connection to reality, who themselves just said, I want to get into something that I think is kind of cool. The way some of us in my generation, many folks, got into things like the dark side of Ozzy Osbourne and Alice Cooper, which are comical in retrospect, but at the time it was very, very serious. But there's this lure, and it's wonderful because it does a couple of things. First, when we were younger, it pissed our parents off, which was one of the most important fun, and that was a very critical time of most people's youth. The idea of being different and distinct, and really stepping away from what's natural, stepping away from the rules, stepping away from convention in the church and patriotism and God and the military and conservatism. And I mean, it was kind of fun. And many of us, I have never lost that desire to be the maverick, to be the contrarian. It's always been fun. I've always thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't do it deliberately, but if I can so believe in something while simultaneously royally pissing off the establishment, I'm all for it. There is nothing fun about being a member of the group where everybody agrees with you and you agree with everybody else. And then comes a time when there's so many theaters of operation, so much is going on. A lot of people are saying, what the hell is this? Look no further than the mainstream media and their version of how they're handling Israel and Rafah. It is horrid. Look how they're handling the notion of demonstrations. We'll talk about that. Look how conservative politics have disappeared when the left and the right are together in this blood oath, this I guess this I'm not even sure what the word is, this connection to explicate and to focus and to promote everything that is Israel and everything that is anti-Palestinian, left and right. It is so great and complicated. But sit back this morning on this, our Tuesday morning of this thing of ours. Let me remind you, it is 182 days until the election. 182 days. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you are a part of this. and make sure you spend a particular bit of attention to this. It's no longer a question of if something catastrophic is coming, it's when. And while you still have control, still have time, what are you going to do about it now to prepare? Your first step is going to my website at preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. Your next step is stocking up on multiple 4-week emergency food kits from My Patriot Supply. And for a limited time, take $50 off a 4-week emergency food supply. My Patriot Supply is equipped to help you prepare. They've helped over 2 million families already. These 4-week kits with ready hour foods provide over 2,000 calories every day, 16 varieties, 25 years shelf life, breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, drinks, and they're sealed inside 2 31-pound rugged waterproof buckets, and they last up to 25 years in storage. Take advantage right now, my friend, and go to preparewithlionel.com. That's preparewithlionel.com. Now, let's see if I can explain this and bring this to your attention. Let's see if we can go through this, because this is a little bit difficult, and I'm warning you. First, as you know, there are many, many theaters of operation going on simultaneously. We're standing on top of the mountain. We have our binoculars out, and we're looking, and we see different groups coming at us. It's not one army. It's not one enemy. It's a series of enemies using a series of tactics, a series of weapons, and a series of foci, focal points. What are they going after? And this is absolutely impossible for the usual suspects, right-wing conservative groups, to talk about. They have no idea. Every year, there is something called the Met Gala, or Gala, depending upon where you're from. And it started, I put a link on Twitter. Mrs. L she knows all about this. The history of this since 1948. And it was a wonderful story, which if you're interested in this, if you like the notion of history, I think it's fabulous. This is from, yes, this is, it was formerly known as the Costume Institute Gala, or the Costume Institute Benefit, and is also referred to as the Met Ball. It's an annual fundraising gala for the benefit of the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. Every year, the event commemorates the theme of that specific year's Costume Institute exhibition, and therefore the exhibition sets the tone for the formal dress of the night. Started in 1948 to raise money for the newly founded Costume Institute and mark the opening of its annual exhibit. The first Met Gala was held as a midnight dinner with tickets that were priced at $50 each. The legacy that was left behind by the former Vogue editor-in-chief Diana Vreeland to the Costume Institute made that Met Gala what it is now. And since 1973, it's best known for its luxurious blockbuster event, and taking into account the crown jewel in New York City's social crown. Now, I use a number of names that most people do not understand. Anna Wintour is the head of Vogue, and she is the self-styled expert of this. She is the high priestess of the crypto-satanic Baphomet set, this bewigged, benighted shrew who thinks this is all about her. She runs this. She is an ice water vein. Her, if you even believe 10, well, let me rephrase it. If 10% of the blinds are correct about her, she is as demented as the rest. Remember, she was after Federer or whatever. She's showing her. Okay. She's a fraud. This is the woman who runs Vogue, who never had on Melania Trump one time, because she is part and parcel of the stranglehold that the shadow government holds on everything that is entertainment. Remember, as Breitbart said, politics is downstream from entertainment. This is important to understand this. Entertainment runs the show. What you hear, what you see, chances are you're going to be paying more attention to music and TV and movies and things. Well, used to be than now. Now is a different story altogether. Whether you like him or not, Melania Trump added a level of panache, fashion, beauty, whatever you want to call it, that no one had ever seen. Jackie Kennedy was this weird looking thing. You ever seen Jackie Kennedy? Weird. This cigarette smoking faux. These were all slatterns, sluts, tramps, the whole schmear. From Radziwill to everyone, to the Swans, to this group. These people there is nobody. There are people working in brothels in Nevada who aren't as concupiscent as these folks. And by the way, they were doing nothing but mercenary. They were classic prostitutes in the exact true sense. Not trafficked. Because remember, trafficked women are not prostitutes. Prostitute, the idea is that we look at what they're doing for themselves. To prostitute yourself, the way the term used to be used was to indicate that you were belittling yourself, your talent, your charm, your whatever. It was a different story. Today, a lot of the women who are prostitutes and the like are basically people who are trafficked. Raul Rodriguez says Hollywood is the Supreme Court of the masses. Excellent. Well, but Raul, and thank you, sir. Raul, Hollywood's dead. It's dead. See, that's what I'm saying. This woman, for the longest time, actually believed this bullshit. She actually believed she ran the show. She was the hand mistress, the handmaiden of this radical left, woke, whatever you want, whatever. I call it the shadow government. The SG. That's the word for the people who really run the show. Are they left? Are they right? Are they European? Are they globalist? I don't know. They run the show. That's it. Okay? I mean, who runs the mafia? Well, it goes back centuries, this motivation. It's like somebody asked a question, what makes an electron move or do its thing? Or Anna Wintour is a relic, a fossil. She is an anachronism. She is somebody who is doing everything in her power to hang on to something. She wanted to, above all else, to ply that British horse shit, which Americans buy hook, line, and stinker, because whenever somebody has a British accent, we think they're somehow classy. That's why in the 40s and 30s and 50s, up to maybe the 60s, we had the mid-Atlantic accent. This was the boarding school accent. This was the George Plimpton, Gore Vidal, William F. Buckley, affected, phony accent you heard in movies. It's called the Mid-Atlantic, somewhere between the U.S. and England. And you could even hear Orson Welles, who tried this for a while and then gave up completely. Yes, darling. Arlene Francis. Hello, Kitty Carlisle. Yes, darling. Yes, hot. Then what are you talking about? You're from Brooklyn. Remember Roscoe Lee Brown? He was like from Red Hook. I mean, these people just, it was complete horseshit and you bought it. But anyway, but that was then. It's not anymore. It's not anymore. Today you have Jim Carrey. You've got George Clooney. That's your star. Brad Pitt. I'm sorry. Robert Downey Jr. This is the Cary Grant of today. This. I'm not saying they're not good actors, but Hollywood's dead. There is no Cary Grant. There is no Clark Gable. There is no anybody. There is no, I mean, you could spend forever Loretta Young, Gloria Swanson, Betty Davis. Who do we have today? What, Meryl Streep? It's done. It's finished. It's the end of an era. Remember in the gym? Remember when kettlebells were the thing? Nah, we're not into kettlebells. Remember when Pilates? Pilates is this. And then it was, okay, then we're into this. Then we're into the ropes. Remember the ropes at gym? We're not into the ropes. Then we're into ice. We're not into that. Bell bottom. We're not into that. Life is like the paninis, gluten-free. Nobody cares about gluten-free anymore. It's just, life is one big cycle. And this shrew, this cur, this harpy, this harridan, this virago, this Anna Wintour from The Devil Wears Prada, this Cruella de Vil of the faux fashion set, is hanging on to this myth that somehow she can make or break whatever it is. There's this story about how she and that thing, Lauren Sanchez, that thing that supposedly the fiance of Bezos, sorta, that thing, it looks like I don't know what it is, like a mask. The girlfriend, the fiance, just like Don Jr. and that Kimberly Guilfoyle. Remember that one? The world's longest, Anyway, I don't give a damn what people do. I just hate phonies. Just tell me the truth. Anyway, so here's the story. So last night was the last gasp, the last shot at this. And it was everything you can imagine. Spend your time looking at this low rent trash. Absolute trash. America doesn't care about this. America doesn't care about this. Nobody cares about this. And the issue is that you have, remember, who's in charge? The shadow government. Okay. Let me go back to Anna Wintour. She never had Melania Trump on Vogue cover one time. You mean to tell me that this woman who has spent her entire life in appearance and getting in shape or whatever she does, her whole time, and I say this not out of any kind of disrespect, but it's true. Her job, her practice, is being a, quote, beauty or a fashion, whatever it is. That's what Melania Trump did. Just like some people are into jogging, some people are into playing golf, some people are doing. Her thing is to be Melania Trump. And you mean to tell me that they take Joe Biden, this phony baloney, I'm a doctor, you got an EDD from a community college with your misspelled, stop it. AOC, who worked that Eat the Rich or Tax the Rich, that stuff, this stupid mayor. By the way, they're turning on Eric Adams. Eric Adams has been rejected. This is a side note. Eric Adams, they said, hey, let's get this stupid jadrul. And they pulled him in. Eric, you're going to be our friend. You're our guy. Yeah. We're going to take you to Rayo's. Rayo's is this mythical, magical Italian restaurant in the Spanish, really Spanish Harlem, technically, that you can't get into. I don't know why you want to get into it, but people have tables there for years. Hey, Bo Dietl goes there. Hey, Sonny Grasso went there. Okay. Hey, the mob goes there. The wise guys. Hey, you want to go to Rayo's? You can use my table. Who the hell wants to go to Rayo? I've been there before. It's okay, but it's bullshit. They should be. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be gratuitously scatological, but it's true. I live in a world. I'm up to my neck in bullshit everywhere I go. Everywhere. Lies, distortions, synthetic appraisals of reality from a bunch of people. So they pull this Eric Adams and they say, hey, you're going to be our friend, Eric. Okay. And he just loved it. Hey, you're a cool guy, Eric. You're a cool guy. And one year he showed up wearing I don't know what the hell he wore. But they don't need him anymore. You know why? Because he's reverting back to law and order. Well, he's falling into the into whatever you want to call it, the anti-Palestinian lobby thing, where he has these phony security, this NYPD intel that says, we found a book on the scene that's called terrorism. Therefore, there are outside antagonists. Hey, fashion plate. What about BLM? We didn't care about that. You didn't care about Antifa because they bought you off too. You're for sale. The whole group is for sale. You want to go on Fox News? Say Israel's 100% correct. Nobody anywhere outside is even remote. They're all terrorists, and Hamas is Palestine. Palestine's Hamas. Like Victor Davis Hanson, who sold his soul. I can't believe what I'm even hearing. It's bullshit. I cannot believe what I'm hearing. I'm more shocked about that. I thought there was this thing called intellectual integrity. If you don't believe in something, just kind of calm it down. Okay, so back to last night. Last night's the Met Gala. Gala. And these gals can't even walk. Have you noticed this, ladies in particular? In fact, Mrs. L, you know that there's nothing funnier. Have you ever seen somebody who all of a sudden there's a wedding? You ever see this? This is my favorite. If you ever have to go to a wedding, which, let's face it, sometimes you want to avoid at all costs, and you go for the the reception. But anyway, so if you go for the reception, what you do is you see the low rent. This is where it's like a cattle call. You ever see this? Do you ever see the friends of the bride who come in? I mean, it's like the dun, 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 and they walk in and they can't even walk in heels. They're covered in tattoos. They're always pulling up their dress. They weigh 900 pounds. This is where we are today. And meanwhile, in the midst of all this, there's Anna Wintour who says, I'm the bastion of fashion. It's like, you live in a circus. We've got people walking around in pajamas and Uggs, and you're the high priestess of society. Look, just look. There's no class, no fashion, no nothing anymore in this country. I am dead serious. And if you think I'm being too harsh, you know why? It's true. You only get in trouble for saying the truth. Look at us today. You remember there was this thing called finishing school? Please stop it. We are a country of slobs. Do me a favor. Next time you go out, anywhere, next time you go to a restaurant, watch how Americans eat with their, watch how they hold their fork, not their knife. It's their fork. Where did they get this from? They can do the Pablo Casal's cello look. There's this, the Friar Tuck. There's this, I don't know what it is. We have no class. And let me tell you something right now. This may sound really sad, and you may think, my God, this guy's being cruel. If we had a little girl right now, I'm going to say, you better learn how to walk in those things, those ugly shoes or whatever you got to wear. This is the most stupid thing I've ever seen in my life. But for some reason, women said, hey, this looks terrific. Manolo or this or whoever, Louboutin, let's wear these stupid shoes with one little thing to try to support 300 pounds of girth. And you've never walked in these before? You're going to learn how to walk. I'm not going to have no daughter of mine at a wedding looking like some kind of what kind of neuromuscular disease is this? Have neurologists say, I don't know. Put it this way. They make Joe Biden look graceful. So last night, did you see these lunatics? They couldn't even walk. They didn't even have the proper ramps or whatever. Okay, so as this myth is going on, this crypto-satanic myth, and let me tell you, I'll bet you there are still dungeons and cat o' nine tails and torture chambers still going wild this morning. You think I'm exaggerating? Every freak, every lunatic, the drugs, the dope, the trafficked, the stoned, oh dear God, they all moved in to see who could out-freak the other. You think I'm exaggerating? You think I'm exaggerating? Whenever you see these miserable vermin meet together, they have to show each other how cool they are, how important they are, and how freaky they are. Now, let me tell you something right now. You better be so thankful. To go back in the 60s, people like Warren Beatty and Jack Nicholson, thank God the statute of limitations ran out. Or thank God you're so old it doesn't even matter. During those days, do you think Roman Polanski, stop right there. Honey, do you think Roman Polanski was the only guy who ever was involved in the sedation and rape of an underage kid? Are you kidding me? They got him. That's exactly right. They got him. What did Harvey Weinstein do? How come they got him? How come Kevin Spacey's off the hook? Kevin Spacey endorses RFK? Are you kidding me? Some people can do it, some people can't. Some people can do it, some people can't. What's Katy Perry doing lately? Do some research on that one, folks. How's Britney Spears doing? What do you think that's about? Come on. Come on, please. Do me a favor. Do you know what's happening? What's happening with Diddy? Was Diddy there last night? Mm-mm. Believe me, people are freaking out. What about Beyonce? You know who's got the worried look? Beyonce, Jay-Z. Oh, man. Oh, man. It takes one little... It took Joe Valachi to bring down the mob. It took Joe Valachi, one guy, one soldier. He wasn't the biggest deal in the world, but that was it. Now, remember, Anna Wintour, you're going to say Vogue. If you're interested in this, the woman who, there was a time in this country when, when it mattered, when there was something to be said for the art and the elegance and the architecture of fashion and style. And the Met has some of the most incredible stuff you have ever seen. Some of these people are, in fact, geniuses. But we don't care about that today. Why? Because we've got 300-pound people covered in tattoos, waddling around, wearing pajamas and scuffies and slides and all that kind of stuff. Let me say this again. We are a nation of we are pachyderms. We are turning into just low rent. Did you know that, what was it? What was that figure about people who've never answered the phone? 25%, was it 25%? 25% of Gen Zers have never answered the phone. Let me say this again to you. You listening to me? 25% of kids 18 to 30 have never answered the phone. The other day, I got this business thing, so I needed a clarification. So I called up. I got this friend. So I called up and said, can I speak to whatever? Yes, is this, who's this? This was the person who's never talked on the phone. And I'm not going to go into too much into detail, but this is where we are right now. Meanwhile, in the midst of this, there's Anna Wintour, the high priestess of Baphomet. She's walking around with that wig, acting like, I'm so cool. And it's like, you're living in a, and by the way, I love wigs. You have no idea how, to me, the funniest thing in the world is a wig. What's the difference between a wig and a hat? A hat, is a hat. But if you know a wig is a wig, it's a hat. What do you call a non-assault weapon? A stick. Remember when people said, is that an assault weapon? Sure as hell better be. I find wigs just to me intellectually funny because it is a hat. I know it's a wig. I know it is. That defeats the purpose. The ultimate wig, gray hair. prematurely gray artificial hair. That's like having yellow dentures. Funniest thing I've ever seen. When I see oh, what the hell's her name? Janine Jean-Pierre, Corinne Jean-Pierre. I'm picking myself. There's like, it's not that people wear a wig. Is it? You think I don't know that? That's the part that kills me. It's like they think they're fooling you. They think, Tony Bennett, bless his heart, had a gray wig. All right, enough of that. Now, last night, what was happening? Yesterday's story was the most important because Israel was talking about, in fact, we're going to find out what's going on regarding Rafah. This is the story beyond stories. But let me tell you what they're doing at the newsrooms of Newsmax and Fox and CNN and everybody else. Rule number 1, we don't talk about Palestine. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about anything. We don't talk about Palestinians, what they've been through, Gaza, occupation. No. We talk about, look at these bastards. Look at these bastards going up to a wall and spray painting Gaza on a beautiful statue that we have. Son of a... Who in the hell are these people? That's what they do. Look at these people disturbing traffic. Look at these people with their masks. They're wearing masks. And they're wearing this keffiyeh. And by the way, they're confusing a Hamas headband with a keffiyeh. The same thing. Look at these people, these outside agitators. Look at these people. Let's bring in NYPD. And all of a sudden you're saying, where have these people come from? Look at the demographic of the NYPD. Tell me, who do you see? These are their tough guy units. These are the tough guys. These are the enforcers. Okay? Look at them. What do you notice? Tell me. How come all these people I see on the corners, I see these, I hate to say it, but these little, I mean, I think I would be a terrible cop. I don't think I have the stature, my age, to intimidate somebody. I think cops have to scare people. In fact, maybe I'd scare somebody because I look like I'd be more prone to shoot because this guy's going to start shooting because, he doesn't look like he could, Physical violence, I just avoid at all costs. I don't think I'd be a very good cop. Other people, but who are these people? Who are these people? Dear God. My God. Where have you been? All I'm seeing on the corner is a bunch of fat people sitting around, staring with their Cardi B glasses, looking on their phone and waddling around. You have no idea. We hit obesity levels. I'm telling you. Listen to what I'm telling you. The next time you just do yourself, go look at a prom. Look at something where people dress up. Look at it. It's just unbelievable. And I'm sorry to say this. I think the obesity between men and women is higher in women. I'm just kind of getting an idea, but it is. We're going to have so many health problems coming up. Oh my God. Are we going to have health problems? Oh my God. And wait till you see the problem with fertility, especially after certain medications, certain things, certain health conditions. Oh, what if all of a sudden you see guess what, the next generation, hey, what happened to birth rates? We'll get to that later. Think it's out of the question? Of course not. There's so much going on right now between what's being drunk, what's being sprayed, what's being consumed, what's being eaten, and the medications, and the edibles, and the mental wherewithal. There are 8. Let me see this. Population in New York City right now is 8.26 million. This is the 5 boroughs. A decrease of 78,000 since July of 2022. 8.26 million people. 8.3 million people. 8.3 million people. 5 boroughs of New York. And what do they show? They show this statue, this site, this sign with Gaza spray painted, but they never showed you BLM protesters. They never showed you Antifa breaking windows. They never showed you pictures of statues, Civil War statues, American statues, nothing. They don't give a shit about that. They don't care about that because they are bought and sold by the people, the shadow government, and they are not in the position right now of talking to anybody about what's going on. Do you hear what I'm telling you? Do you hear what I am telling you? I am telling you right now. Listen to me and listen carefully, my friends. Listen to me carefully. Let's stand by for a second. Hold on real tight because we need to hear from our good friend Mike Lindell from our great friends at MyPillow.com. Promo code Lionel. It's time yet again, my friends, to hail and salute our great friends at MyPillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you'll get a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I know a free gift. It's a tautology, so sue me. But first, listen carefully. Check out their $25 extravaganzas. Premium MyPillows, Queen and King, MyPillow 2.0. MyPillow bed sheets, the lowest price ever. Sandals, slides, slippers, 6-piece towel sets, 4-pack dish towel sets. Simply and absolutely unbelievable. So go to mypillow.com/Lionel, mypillow.com promo code Lionel, or call 800-645-4965 and watch how fast Mike Lindell answers the phone. MyPillow.com, simply and absolutely the best. Now, meanwhile, my friends, those in the conservative world have not a clue as to what the hell is going on. All they're talking about, the only thing they're talking about, is how rude, how wild, and these terrible protesters. Let me tell you something right now. Let's put this into perspective. Number one, protesting is guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States. The destruction of personal property is not. The destruction of public property is not. The defacing of walls and monuments are not. That is against the law. You can't do that under any circumstance whatsoever. Number two, when that occurs, you will see 2 different kinds of coverage. The first coverage is done by the usual suspects, this corrupt media, this collective media. Did you read the stories about this African-American woman who was bounced from ABC? They couldn't stand her. She was bad-mouthing everybody. And the first thing that happened was the Society of African-American and Black journalists said, this is an outrage. It's like, shut up. It's over. DEI is over. This nonsense is over. This belly aching and blaming and everybody. It's over. It's done. Done. Even in the media, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. When CNN considers taking back, and they are going to take back, Fredo Cuomo, the laughingstock, when this guy is still, when it's that bad, when this Jadrul gets brought, I mean, they are so desperate. Consequently, they're also told, understand something. We are not going to do anything, cover anything that could any way be construed as pro-Palestinian. Do we make ourselves clear? Palestinians have no position. Remember this. If you want to continue working for us, if you are a paid contributor to whatever the hell it is, okay, Fox News or whatever, you better understand something. If you ever give any fair and balanced treatment towards this, if you say anything that in any way tries to explicate, explain, point out the realities of what's going on, if you think that you're going to stay here pointing on anything to explain what has happened, the history of Israel, the history, forget it. You don't understand something. It doesn't work like that. Israel is good. Palestinians are bad. That is the end of it. Period. Hamas and Palestinians are the same. Make sure you speak of them the same. I don't want any kind of context. I don't want any kind of history. We don't want to hear. Period. We don't want to hear any of this. Do you hear what I'm saying? You understand this? This is the part. This is the thing. Okay, fine. And they are so desperate, so incredibly frightened that they will do whatever they want. So what do? All they do is go, look at this. Look what these people did. Okay, you're right. Oh, they wrote Gaza on the side of, oh, for God's sake. Can you clean that off? Well, yeah, we can clean it off. But still, you're right. Who did it? I don't know. Some jerk, some idiot. Are they outside agitators? Like Antifa. Well, that's different. No, that was Black Lives Matter. You didn't care about that. Well, we were under orders then. Couldn't say anything about that either. Don't you understand? The media are owned. They are repeaters, not reporters. They're told this is what you say. This is it. And my favorite is they say, you know, a lot of these people are wearing masks. Gee, I wonder where that came from. Well, that's different. No, excuse me. You created a generation of people, and we still see walking around with a mask on. I still see people walking around with a mask. It's like the Japanese who didn't know the war is over. They're walking around with a mask on. You created that. You scared the hell out of everybody. You made mask wearing cool. You actually sold designer masks made of flimsy material that don't even they don't even work. But you cemented this connection between the mask, obfuscation, separation of reality from whatever. You did it, and now you're upset because they're wearing a mask. You created this. Now, here's another story. This is the best. And by the way, there's a whole lot of folks. It's very interesting. You know, one of the reasons why I'm not a TikTok, but I've been looking up this thing called Katy Perry MK Ultra. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Katy Perry MK Ultra. Now, this is the part which is the most fascinating. This is the most important thing in the world. Now, understand something fascinating. When you go and you want to try to find out what the story of this means, you will not find anything on regular Twitter, or maybe a little bit there. But you have people who use terms like MK Ultra, Illuminati. Cat Williams did this. They know something. They're not sure. Maybe they're using the wrong term. Maybe it's not MK Ultra. They're not really sure. You see this shooter who decides to shoot up. Is it? Crazy people are crazy people without being a part of mind control. But in any event. But there's this movement where other people are saying, hey, this is odd. This is strange. It just so happened that's the platform everybody wants to shut down. Isn't that interesting? Remember, your government cares nothing about your information or data being released. They don't care the first thing about that. Do you hear what I'm saying? They don't care the first thing about that. Let me just leave you with that. Let me just leave you with this. So, my friends, I want you to listen very carefully. Do yourself a favor and ask yourself this question. You are living in a parallel universe. They are trying to confine you in some kind of a world of a. It's been called a goldfish bowl or a parallel universe or some kind of a weird reality. They want to keep you there. They want to keep you there, and they want you to stay there and not ask any questions. And when they bring things up, when you say, "Oh, look at this! Look at all these people walking around! Look at all these folks," you got to ask yourself the question: why are they doing this, and why is this important? Okay. And this is the most critical thing in the world. This is the most critical thing in the world. I want you to understand this. I want you to understand specifically what it is that we're saying. I want you to understand and grasp what we're saying. I want you to grasp everything. Grasp the notion of this. Grasp the implications of this. Separate yourself from what you've been told. Separate yourself from what you've been told. Separate yourself from what it is that you've been told and understand the reality of what's happening. That's all. That is all. Keep in mind these various things. You are being led into a world where you are being told, or at least presented, kind of like a hologram, a fake version of what appears to be the case. Listen to me and listen very carefully. The world is changing drastically. Joe Biden is collapsing he is in free fall. He is in free fall. Let me say this again. Joe Biden is in free fall. We have not seen anything like this ever. Do you hear what I'm saying? We are seeing the collapse of a human being, and we are seeing the collapse and the total destruction of either a trend. We also have, I don't know where we're going, a procedural direction, a vector. I hope, and this is terrible, I hope President Trump is held in contempt, and I hope he is ordered incarcerated. I know that sounds terrible, but if he does, if they are stupid enough to do this, if this Judge Merchan is actually stupid enough to suggest, to incarcerate him, then and maybe only then, the lunacy of this world will finally break through and make sense to people. Because we've never seen anything like this. The old guards, the Anna Wintours, do not understand what's happening. They're trying to maintain the control they've had for years. That's where we are right now. That's where we are right now. It is absolutely beyond explication. Now, friends, I want you to do me a favor. The best version of this is Mrs. L, who has on her YouTube channel, listen to her version of the Met. She also has an interview, it's coming up later, with a retired LAPD vice sergeant. You've got to hear this. This is the best stuff that's available. It's on YouTube. Lynn's Warriors. Follow her. I'm telling you. This is the brutal reality. And I love brutal reality. Thank you very, very much, Raul Rodriguez. Thank you for your kindness and your beneficence this morning. And thank you for watching. Make sure you remain subscribed. Make sure you check right now, subscribe, because we have more coming up. So in the meantime, dear friend, have a great and a glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean this sincerely. And in the meantime, I say to you, remember these words. Remember, and make sure you're make sure you're subscribed. I'm saying this again. Make sure you're subscribed so you know when we're live and when we're going with new videos. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you.